Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Select Board meeting for October 28th, 2024. We have two of our board members here. Jen is out today. Danielle, and from the public, Jeff Wright. We'll start with our town clerk report.
All right. Don't have a lot other than election updates, because that's all we've been dealing with for quite some time. Absentee and early voting is open until October 31st, close of business. We close at 4 o'clock. You can come in and early vote or request an absentee up until that point. After October 31st, you need to have a special circumstance to get an absentee ballot. The 2024 taxes are due also by October 31st, close of business, to receive the 2% discount. The principal payment is due December 2nd. Just some reminders. Election day, Tuesday, November 5th, the polls will be open 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Town clerk's office will be closed for normal business. We won't be doing any registrations or anything that day other than election work in the gym. So I will also send out a text my gov message on that and update the website. So.
Good.
Other than that, I've got the tax collection updates at the bottom with the reserve account and checking account. Payments are still coming in really strong, and we're in good shape.
Excellent. Just speaking to the general public out there, I would ask you to give our clerk's office a break. Please don't come in at 3:30 on October 31st wanting to pay your taxes and do an absentee ballot. Give them a little time if you can. Early this week as opposed to late this week would be better. Okay. We have our agenda for today approved. Minutes from last week. Did you have any updates to those, Aaron?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Okay, minutes are signed. Bills to be paid today. Again, we're just doing today's bills. We're not worrying about next week. Basically, as bills come in, we're going to pay them unless we pull anything that shouldn't be paid. So bills that'll be paid actually on today's warrant, but check tomorrow or Thursday, are total $30,220.35. And that does include a payroll, so it's a relatively light week, which is nice. As far as I know, we don't have any ads going in, and no reports have come in, no monthly reports. Okay, on to our specific items. We have an abatement for a property that was assessed for a new building that was actually built on a portion of the property that was divided off. So this is the abatement to take that extra property and the new building off, and we will be issuing a supplemental tax bill to get it into the correct property. Okay, here's that. As I just noted, we do have some supplemental taxes that we need. One is the one that will correct the one the abatement we just signed. The other is for one that we did last week or the week before for Anderson. Okay, after a long run, the case on Reed Lane that's been in the courts for over a year and probably a lot longer than a year has been decided. It's down from the Supreme Judicial Court, I believe, which means that their judgment is law now. It can't be appealed anywhere further. So we are actually having an executive session at 6:30 tonight to discuss what things we need to do with our lawyer. There are issues of whether fines need to be imposed, and we need to make sure that the operation down there stops. We did get a letter from Moreau's lawyer, which she had also emailed to us, just saying that she will, of course, advise her client to comply with the court order, among other things. Okay, when we adopted the adult use cannabis ordinance, part of that includes medical cannabis establishments that are not on somebody's home or homestead property. We can license, well, actually we can't. We may be able to license those, but the critical thing is they need to go through a conditional use permit application. So right now, the issue is, how do we notify those people? We've had a couple of thoughts. One is to send a letter to the people that we know have operations. Another is to send a letter to everybody in town so we don't miss anybody. We haven't really decided on how to do that. And, I don't know, I just throw that back out there. If you've got anything to add to that, Aaron, any good thoughts or bad thoughts?
No, I mean, I think notifying the ones we know, we run the risk of failing to notify somebody.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, if we send a letter to everybody in town, it's sending everybody a letter, and it's only going to apply to a very small percentage.
Half a dozen, maybe 10. Yeah.
But I feel like, the right way to make sure that the notification happens for everyone is to send a letter to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Because the only way you can guarantee that everybody gets notification.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll send a quick question to our lawyer, see if he has suggestions.
Yeah, because I'm not sure if that's something you can just notify, like with an ad in the paper type deal. I don't know that they'll know better whether or not,
Right.
What sort of requirements we have for notification.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because anybody, if it's just in the paper, people can just say they didn't see it.
Right.
And if we only send to ones that we know about, then the others can say they didn't know about it. So,
Right.
Yeah. So, all right. We'll check with the lawyer. Okay. Jen took a water test down to took a water sample from here early last week. No, late the week before, pardon me, to have our water tested. It came back with a positive, help me.
No, I can't remember
It's
what
not
it's
E.
called.
coli, it's a positive bacteria. But Jen talked to the people that did the test. They suggested a retest for just that, because a lot of things can affect that. It can be a contamination of the sample jar itself. It can be a contamination from the faucet, so on. It can be a bunch of things, or it could be a real reading. So she took another sample last week and took it down, and indeed it came back negative. So we're fairly confident that the first one was because of a contamination of the sample. Coliform, thank you. Okay, let's see. Jen's first on our select board updates here. So she sent me an email with a few things on it that I will go through. She's trying to get back in touch with the representative from Spectrum to get information about the build out in town. This person has been on, on vacation for a while. So she called and emailed her today and is hoping to hear from her this week. Southern Maine Planning and Development is talking to their sustainability director to see about the potential for a solar project in Parsonsfield. They want to get in touch with Soltage, who are the people that were going to do the solar project, to see if they can get any information from them on why that didn't go through. We're waiting to hear back from Bob Consul, I believe is how you pronounce the last name. He is the assessor that was here last week, and is going to give us a quote on reassessing the town. Hopefully we're getting close to that. Let's see. I think we talked last week about the security cameras, but I'll mention it again. We have been awarded the grant in the risk reduction category that will allow us to pay for most, if not all, of those security cameras, or the upgrade. So we're going to have Pine State Security, who did our last system, our existing system, which will be integrated into the new system. And that'll go in a few weeks. And that's about it from Jen. And Aaron?
I think the only update I have is reached out to town of Effingham as we were going through the salt shed and trying to figure out if it's going to make more sense to fix the current building or see what the cost is for a new one. So started that sort of exploratory research into, what's going to be our, most cost efficient way to move forward. One of the companies that I had looked at, they had done salt sand shed for Effingham.
Mm-hmm.
And so I reached out to them just to see, process wise, warranty wise, sort of, the information that the company won't give you and
Right.
see what we could get for information on how the process was, if, they recommended the company, so to sort of get a firsthand review there of their experience with that one particular company,
Mm-hmm.
but also looking into a couple other options versus fixing up what we currently have. That way we make a decision for next winter. We'll have a decision on whether or not we're going with a new building, fixing our current one,
Right.
pros and cons of each,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of outweigh, what's going to make the most sense for the town moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay.
more to come.
Very good. Let's see. From my side, an installer from Consolidated was here last week to, he thought, install our router, modem and router, so we could hook up to the fiber. Unfortunately, the right hand wasn't talking to the left hand, and Consolidated does not have a fiber run coming into the building. So an engineer was here first thing this morning. He went through, measured, looked at things, and he will put together a work order, and from there they will schedule installation from the street of the fiber line. And he didn't know when that would be. He said he'd have his report, his order done by either tomorrow or Wednesday. But it'll probably be a couple of weeks after that. Let's see. Jen, you'll be happy about this. We got a couple of disaster response well check forms back. These are the forms that went out with tax bills. People could fill them out if they wanted a well check when there was any kind of an emergency. So if you have those and still want to get in on that, feel free to send those back, email them, whatever is easiest. If you want to get in on it and don't still have the form, give us a call. We'll get one to you. I believe that may be it, except for our executive session, which probably isn't going to happen until about 6:30. Jeff, do you have anything?
Just the marijuana thing that you were talking about. Probably be best to send certified letter to the ones that you know have medical, and listed in the shopper's guide as well as the website. The money you save from sending a letter to everybody would go to the certified letters to the ones that you know. And if you just send regular mail, let's say, someone can say, I didn't get it.
Mhm.
So that's what I would do.
Mhm.
If I was-
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
and we can reach out to code enforcement about pulling permits for anyone, who has permitted anything that's, a grower or greenhouse or anything like that that's, been permitted. That way we can kind of go down that road as well.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, so we'll take that into consideration and see what the lawyer says. Anything else?
The salt shed, is that the Secocas? I must have called it.
Secocas,
Yes,
yes, I didn't say
Secocas.
which one. Yes,
Yeah.
that's for Secocas. Yeah, so the building right now, if we wanted to fix what's currently there, the best thing to do would be, one, to put a gate, and two, we need to put essentially cable ties so the trusses, so the legs don't splay out. So cable tie all the trusses at the top so that the building remains standing.
Yeah.
Those are the two major things that came out of that report that they wanted us to do. And then also look to do cinder block walls to prevent, or concrete walls to prevent the salt and sand from being pushed up against them and eroding
I
the
think they were
metal.
supposed to put the Jersey barriers in there years ago.
I don't know about years ago. I know that's sort of what we're looking at, is either Jersey barriers or they make concrete blocks that are like, 2 feet by 4 feet that you can stack up and push up against. Something along those lines to prevent it from getting pushed up against those. I mean, those metal walls aren't going to hold it. They aren't currently. So.
Right.
Yeah. The only downside here is that we're currently not insured on that building for collapse,
Right.
and won't be until, at least until the cable ties go in, possibly also until we put barriers up. So we need to weigh the difference between working on that building and doing something new.
And since we're on that subject, I've heard there's some stuff on Facebook. People are looking for a place to dump their leaves in the village. I don't know if anybody's called or not, but.
Yeah, we've gotten a few phone calls on that as well.
But
I've just asked them to call Tri-Town.
Yeah, we don't really have,
well,
Good place.
years ago, I mentioned the box shop area before the solar people came in, and the answer was no. And of course, when the solar people were going to put in there, it was definitely no. But now that the solar people aren't at the box shop, maybe it's the time to have a little area for people just to dump leaves and brush. Just clear people in the village anyways.
yeah, I don't know, well, you can't limit it to people in
No,
the village.
I mean, you can. I mean, you can't. You can limit it to the, to anybody. But I think if anybody lives near the woods, they're just going to put it on the property.
Yeah, yeah.
But the people in the village are really scrambling. I know I have to haul mine out of the village to a place where we dump them.
Yeah,
But,
yeah. Okay, well, we'll look at the implications of a leaf pile.
I mean, a lot of towns do it.
Yep. Yeah, it's certainly worth looking into. I mean,
Yep.
it'd be a good area to create a compost and
Yeah.
and that as well, so
Yeah, you
maybe,
can create compost for your own garden here too.
yep,
2 for 1.
exactly, certainly worth looking into.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yep.
okay,
I guess that's it.
that's it, all right. Well, we got about 7 or 8 minutes before David Laurie's gonna call.
If you were to build a new salt shed,
Yes.
where would it go? Would you tear down the other one, or would you leave that one up and use the concrete platform that's in front of that area?
Yeah, so it would go on the same pad, replacing what's currently there. So taking, the job would be to take down the structure that's currently there, put in the new structure.
Is there any way that you could leave the structure and put another one in front of it?
I mean, if we were going to decide to leave the structure, then we would be putting concrete in, we would go that route. And then, shore up the building, put concrete inside.
Okay.
What do you see as an advantage there?
Oh, just that instead of paying money to have that thing torn down, and have, somebody has to come in with torches and cut those beams up, that use the platform that's in front, if it was big enough, and put your new salt shed in front, and leave the old one for town storage, for whatever,
Mm-hmm.
could be
Possibility.
Equipment.
Yeah.
If you're worried about a vehicle going through it, then just build another one and just use that for, truck storage.
Mm-hmm.
Not that we have a town trucks, but.
Right. Let's not go there. Please.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not going to use it for salt sand, obviously it eliminates the need to put concrete in there for the sand to be pushed up against and things like that. So yeah, if it's more cost effective to do that, then certainly we could.
Yeah.
Because I think the cheapest part of that whole, shoring up that building is the cable ties, right?
Right.
That's going to be the cheapest part of everything.
Yep.
Concrete's not cheap, especially the amount that would be needed to line the inside of that building.
Right.
So
Jen just texted me and says it's not safe,
it's not safe.
as it is.
Well, it certainly needs a lot of work. I mean, there's parts missing on the front where I think a loader or dump truck, hit the opening. So that's that's obviously a concern as well. But yeah, there's pieces of the walls that are pushed out. There's still currently sand up against that, and so we met with the contractors last week, and they're gonna try to move the sand back away from the walls for this winter. But obviously, with nothing to push up against, the same risk is there
Mm-hmm.
this year of the sand going back up against the walls. So
Yeah. Well, the operator's got to be a little careful.
we expressed that to them as well. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we expressed that, especially on the north side, using less of the material, and then also, being careful not to push it up against the walls. So, because like we said, the building's not insured for collapse, so there certainly runs the risk if you keep pushing large amounts of salt and sand up against the building. It's going to.
Yeah.
So.
One thing that was expressed to me when I made the rounds with the property insurance person was that each year we should go out there with contractors to the buildings and take pictures and make sure they know what condition it's in. And come the end of the winter season, it's got to be in that same condition or they're responsible for it. That has not been done in the past, but will be done. Even if we don't do anything to the existing sand and salt shed.
Yeah, because you had one at the other one, Maplewood,
Maplewood.
had a little accident.
Yep,
Yep.
exactly.
All right. No sense of me hanging around.
Okay, thanks, Jeff.
You can vote to go in executive session, and I'll be gone.
There you go.
All right, thank you, folks.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you. Anything else you want to bring up, Danielle? Okay,
Thank you.
you can't go off that yet. We need to
Okay.
go into executive session and then you can go off.
All right.
but you don't need to hang around.
Okay, I'm gonna go pick up my broom.
Yeah, okay. Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
Actually, just so we don't keep people waiting, I'm going to make a motion that we go into executive session pursuant to Title I MRSA, paragraph 4056E for consultations with legal counsel.
Second.
All right, so we are going into executive session now. The only thing we will do when we come out of it is adjourn the meeting. And of course, we can't make decisions inside the executive session. So we'll see you next week, folks.